Today, I'm going to tell you how to prepare for your entire annual evaluation in under 15 seconds. I don't mean spending an afternoon scrolling through old emails or blocking off a Saturday to piece your year back together. I mean 15 seconds and one Copilot prompt that gathers your whole year into a clean, confident story you can give to your boss, your board, your stakeholders, or keep for yourself so you finally see the truth of your own work. In case you didn't know, this is the 1001 Business Problems Solved with Microsoft Teams podcast, and I'm Annie Rind. I strive to give you actionable ideas every Monday in 6 minutes or less. Before we get to that magical Copilot trick, however, I want to tell you a story about my neighbor, Grant. A real guy. One of the good ones. And Grant had the stuff. He was the classic old-school Midwestern farmer who kept everything because everything might be useful someday. Tools, parts, attachments, gadgets he rescued off other people's farms before they hit the burn pile, machines he swore he'd fix when the weather broke. Grant could weld, fix, and build anything, and if you doubted it, he'd gladly show you the proof stacked in his sheds. Then one day, he decided he was done. Not because he couldn't work anymore. Grant could outwork most people half his age, but because he and his wife Sally wanted to be able to spend entire weekends at the casino without worrying about what might be leaking, freezing, tipping, or blowing away back home. They wanted freedom. They wanted fun. And they wanted to leave the worry behind. So Grant said, "I'm done. Let's have the auction." Now, his kids supported him, but they were a little nervous. They knew a lot of what was on that farm. They remembered hauling home more than a few of those pieces. They remembered stacking lumber in the outbuilding, sliding that old drill press into the machine shed, and tarping the little John Deere tractor, just until spring. But they'll tell you honestly that they didn't remember everything. Not even close. Some drawers hadn't been opened in 10 years. There were boxes of bolts they definitely carried in but couldn't describe now. And there were all the homemade contraptions Grant welded together over the years that only he fully understood. They knew the pieces, but they didn't have a complete inventory. And the auctioneer didn't either. And as much as he hated to admit it, even Grant didn't have the entire thing in his head anymore. Now imagine a tool that could walk the whole property. One that could open every drawer, look under every tarp, identify every tool and every part, explain what each thing was for, assign value, and lay everything out in one clean, understandable list. And imagine that this tool could inventory the whole farm, drawers, tarps, sheds, machine rooms, homemade contraptions, and all in 15 seconds. That right there is what Copilot can do for your work year. Because your year isn't unclear. Your accomplishments aren't missing and your value isn't hiding. It's just scattered, the same way Grant's inventory was scattered, tucked in emails, hiding in chats, stored in meeting notes, sitting in old documents, and buried inside decisions you made on the fly that never made it into any system. And this is why I keep saying that 2026 is the year we declare war on scattered information. Scattered information is the quiet killer of every organization, from tiny mom and pop operations to giant corporations. It slows decisions, hides wins, erases impact, and grinds teams down. So this year, we fight back. Now, let me show you the exact prompt you can use to create your year-end evaluation, or even your weekly report for that matter, in about 15 seconds. Here's what you say to Copilot. You don't have to say this exact thing, but something similar. Copilot, create a concise summary of my work for the past year. Focus on 4 things: the problems I solved, the decisions I made, the opportunities I seized, and the milestones I reached. Pull from my emails, my chats, my meeting notes, my files, and anything else you can access. Organize the results into clean sections with short bullet points. For each item, include the impact, any metrics or dates you can identify, the related project or initiative, and the client or stakeholder involved. Keep it practical, keep it clear, and make the whole thing ready to paste into a year-end report. I ran that prompt myself, and in under 15 seconds, Copilot produced a report that knocked my socks off. It surfaced decisions I'd forgotten I made, opportunities I didn't remember seizing, milestones that absolutely should be on any evaluation. It connected dots I didn't realize were connected. It reminded me of work I completed in February that still matters in December. But it missed one thing I needed. It didn't tie each piece of work back to the specific client or stakeholder. And that matters. If I solved a problem for a particular client, I want their name on the page. So I followed up because Copilot isn't Google. It's not a one-and-done search. It's a conversation and a thinking partner. I said, "Good job, Copilot, but now go back and revise this summary to add the client or stakeholder for every item. Group the output by client first and then by the 4 categories. If you're not sure who a stakeholder was, flag it and propose likely candidates based on context. And keep the impact, metrics, and dates attached." Copilot rebuilt the entire summary. It grouped everything by client, then by category. It tightened the language. It filled in details it hadn't surfaced before. Suddenly, the summary became something any manager, executive, or board could instantly understand. And here's the part that will change how you work. Copilot's first pass is almost always 80% right. And that's not a flaw, that's the feature. It just saved you 80% of the digging and the writing. You simply guide the last 20%. Now, let's go a step further, because this is where people are often surprised. After Copilot summarizes your year, ask it to help you see the patterns in your work. Say, where were the bottlenecks? Where did I tend to lose momentum? What opportunities might I have left on the table? And if you were coaching me, what habits or systems would help me show up stronger next year? Copilot won't judge you, and it's not going to psychoanalyze you. That's not what it does. But what it can do is look across your emails, your chats, your notes, your calendar, and your projects and surface the trends and behaviors that are hiding in plain sight. It might notice that follow-ups tend to slip through on Fridays, or that certain types of tasks consistently take longer, or that work related to one client moves faster because you're more organized with them. It can call out patterns you've lived through but never written down. This isn't criticism, it's clarity. And clarity is one of the most valuable things you can get at the end of a year. And if you're a manager, you can use this responsibly for your team as well. Ask Copilot to identify strengths, opportunities, and blockers. Not as judgment, but as a starting point for better conversations. And then here's one more real power move. Once you've fine-tuned everything, say, "Copilot, rewrite my original prompt so it will reliably produce this improved output every time." Now you have your personal evaluation generator prompt for 2026. You'll get a final result even more quickly for next year because you just told Copilot to write a single prompt to use next December that will save some of the back and forth you had to do this year. Whenever I finish a productive session with Copilot, I ask it to create a single, well-crafted prompt that would achieve the same final results in less time. This way, I can use that prompt next time and avoid so much back and forth. So as we wrap up, remember, your year is probably much better than you remember, and Copilot will help you tell a better story. And finally, remember that 2026 is the year we wage war on scattered information. Please share this episode with your business besties, especially anyone who manages people or works inside a large corporation. You will save them hours and possibly days. Now, go review your year with Copilot and get ready for Wednesday night when we all welcome what will become our best year ever. This is Annie signing off.